Boom Airport to get your taxi, and it's bang, and that's the first time you get the Thailand smell as well, and it's like, yeah, this is it. Here I am. I'm here.
Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to the Saturday live show, special Halloween edition. Yes, so no costume for me, but I got a cool background. So in America, I swear it's been so difficult to find like Halloween costumes or Halloween t-shirts. This year I was going all around this different stores this week in San Francisco and nothing. So disappointed. I just wanted to get a cool Halloween t-shirt, something to kind of show my support. But I couldn't find anything. So welcome to the live show today. For those of you that might be new to the channel, my channel is devoted towards tips and tools for your next Thailand trip. I joked last week about, I don't know when that next trip is happening. We have to live vicariously through our guests. And joining me today will be Chuck from the famous YouTube channel, notime2bsad. So I'm so excited to have him come on today. It's a great night to have a live show there in Bangkok in Thailand time. So I'm excited to kind of bring him in. Before we get started, I'm going to bring him on momentarily, but I did want to let you know that for those of you that are not familiar with my channel, I have live streams and I also have recorded videos as well. So a little plug on my Richard Returns to Thailand series. So if you guys get a chance, check out some of those. I have parts 1 through 9 available on YouTube today, and working on the final episode, part 10. So that's a great series that kind of chronicles my return to Thailand after a 10-month absence. I had a new job, had to kind of build up vacation time again, and came over just as the situation was taking off in Thailand. So it was kind of an odd time. Things are starting to slow up a little bit in the bars. So it's sort of like my experiences coming back. Great. So today's show, it's going to be exciting. So I have Chuck coming on here momentarily. A little bit about Chuck before we bring him onto the live stream is, Chuck is actually from America, born in Florida, born and raised mostly, or I should say raised mostly in Houston, Texas. So he came over to Thailand a while ago. We're going to talk to him about his experiences in Thailand and why he chose to come over. So I've been following his channel for about 6 years now. So I know most of the answers to these questions, but I want to kind of double click into it a little bit more and get some great information from Chuck. So let me do this. Let me go ahead and get things lined up to bring Chuck into the Saturday live show. Let me add Chuck. Hey, Chuck.
Hello.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
You know, I was thinking before I brought you in, Chuck, I wonder what you're more excited about, either being on the special Richard Travel live show or the fact that you'll no longer have to see all my messages asking you to come on the live show.
Well,
I've been asking you.
Yeah, you have been asking me for a while, so I was kind of hesitant because I don't know, I just don't really look at myself as kind of a YouTuber. I know that sounds weird, but just a guy, living a whatever life, whatever happens, happens. But anyway, I should be drooling on my pillow for the last 3 hours. So anyway, you got me up, so here I am.
Well, that's great. So I was wondering if you're going to like take a nap before the live show or just stay up late. So I appreciate you doing whatever you did there.
I tried to take a nap, actually, but today is Loy Katon, so they're having a massive celebration outside, of course, as usual. So no naps for me.
So how do they celebrate that? Do they have fireworks, firecrackers going off for that?
They did this time. Yeah, they had fireworks. The only thing they didn't have was they didn't have a beauty contest. I don't know why. Fireworks are okay, but beauty contest is not. But anyway, it was a full-blown celebration. Other than normally we're like flooded with Lao people, but yeah, it's pretty good. I just finished up my video of it today, so it should be out in the next couple of days. And I gave you a little shout out on the video as well. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, man. It's all about just trying to get people, exposure to my channel. So I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Not a problem. You don't mind if I have a cocktail, do you?
No, go for it, man. I wish it was a little bit later in America. I would join you. I'm telling you, one of these weeks I may do that. I may just have a cocktail, just because it can be a little stressful. These live streams can be a little stressful. I saw you in the green room earlier. I always appreciate that. It takes a little bit of stress away because sometimes people have issues coming in. So it's nice to see you kind of got right in there.
Well, I did have an issue, actually. I had to go borrow this bootleg camera because my camera's not working on my laptop. And then last minute, I wasn't going to download it on my phone. So I just borrowed I don't know, is a picture okay? I think this thing is
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the max res on this is 720p. I have it set to 720. I could go 1080, but it requires a lot of bandwidth to do live streams at that resolution. So, I'm limping along with my computer to make these things work for a little while longer. So, yeah, great. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that because I've never met anyone that's so uncomfortable being a YouTube star like you are. I feel like you're kind of a little uncomfortable with your success. But I feel like that's what attracts everyone to your channel is the day in the life videos, which are so great. And props to you for making them longer duration. Like I've made videos, my longest is 20 minutes. I think 30 minutes is about the norm for each of your videos. That requires a lot of work.
Well, when I do shorter ones, they complain that they're too short. I think people are used to coming home from work and, grabbing a beverage and, watching Thailand, but it's not that I'm uncomfortable being a YouTuber. It's just, I feel, I don't know. I just feel like I'm just a normal guy showing normal daily stuff. It's just no time to be sad. It's just about living life with the bare minimum and just not knowing what you're going to do after you drink your first cup of coffee, basically. But I don't really feel like it's weird, when you walk around and people come to you, hey, Chuck, hey, it's like, I don't know you, but you know everything about me. So it gets a little weird sometimes, but I do love that. And when we weren't having this little issue, we would have 3 or 4 people a day coming to the house. So which was
wow.
But most of my viewers I've never met like a weirdo. I'm waiting one day where, hey, Chuck, I really don't like you. I'm waiting for that. I think it'll be funny, but no, everybody's been pretty nice, and I love that part of meeting new people, and yeah.
I think for that, so people in the chat, that is not a challenge. So no weirdos showing up at Chuck's house. But yeah, it's interesting, Chuck, because one of the things that I think you inspired me to do was to learn the Thai language. You know, when I first came over, I learned a little bit of Thai. I know how to say hello, how you doing? And then I kind of left it because for me, it was too difficult. I just kind of wrote it off as it wasn't something I'd be able to do. And then listening to your videos, especially when you would take your bike and go out to the market, like the wet market, and talk to some of the people in Thai, I thought, you know, I can do this. I can do this. Yeah. So I came back, I applied myself, and, you know, my Thai has gone up to, you know, next level. I never thought it'd be where I am in the Thai language, but I think what you're doing is awesome. And I don't think you get enough props for that. I don't think you call yourself out like, listen, this is tough, but I know how to do it. I noticed that you're starting to subtitle a little bit more with your Thai language, which is helpful for all of us. But how was it for you? I know you had an English or a Thai teacher for a while, but how did you find learning the Thai language? Was it difficult for you?
Well, my first mission coming to Thailand was to learn the language. I thought I would be so fluent right now. Actually, I thought after a year I'd be speaking perfect Thai, but it's difficult, you know, because I think in English all day. I'm doing videos, I'm communicating on the computer in English, so it's hard to do that conversion. But you know, I speak like a four-year-old maybe, you know. So it's broken Thai, but I speak in Isan mostly, and a lot of times you have people that learn proper Thai, and they, you know, they come on to you and, oh, you're not saying this right. I think a lot of people they don't want to learn because I don't know, they're embarrassed they might say something wrong. But the thing is, as long as everybody understands and you can communicate, I think that's what's important, you know.
Yeah, and I feel like Thai people get a kick out of Farongs speaking their language when they're not very good at it. Like myself, yeah. I use myself as an example. I was at a restaurant one time where I was starting to kind of get more comfortable speaking Thai, and I said, I'll just have a nam. I'll just have a nam. And that's the incorrect word for water. And I never saw Thai people crack up so much. For like an hour, they were laughing about this. And of course, it's nam pao, but yeah, I just thought it was so hilarious. Just a quick shout out here, Chuck, real quick. I got a super chat here. Thank you, Virtuella. Awesome. Thank you for that. Louis Cabo in the house. Epic. Thank you for the 50. Appreciate that, man. He's asking, Chuck, when does the party start?
I don't know. I put a post up saying we're going to have a Halloween party tomorrow, but you know, it's with the mafias. I have no idea when it's going to get started. So it maybe 5, maybe 6. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think you made this point earlier, like they don't stay up very late, so it'll probably be an earlier party.
Yeah, early evening.
But you know, you brought up a good point earlier around speaking Isan, because I found that when I spoke Thai in a restaurant setting, the people I'm with will switch to Isan. So I guess my question to you is, so what language do you speak? Is it Thai or is it Isan? Because I hear they're 2 different languages, right?
Well, that's a good question, because I assume I speak Thai because that's what I went to school to learn, to speak Thai. And whenever I say something in Isan, my teacher slaps the crap out of me. But here's the thing, is that when we're traveling, people say, oh, you speak Isan. I'm like, well, no, I don't speak Isan. I'm speaking Thai, but I don't realize that I'm speaking Isan. Some of the words are a little, it's a mixture between Lao and Thai, you know, but I don't realize I'm saying these words, you know, but the tones are much easier with Isan. And well, really with Lao, they only use a couple of tones. So it's easier, but as long as they understand you, that's really all that matters. But people bust my balls all the time on the internet. Oh, you're not doing it right. I don't talk English right. You know what I mean? What difference? Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, that's really the only thing that matters.
Yeah, it's so funny because I remember you made a cool video where you're talking about, you know, before you came over, like you put your head down, had flashcards, you know, words that you wanted to know, and then you came over and said, like, boy, that was a waste. Like, I can't use these in a conversation. Like, I think you made the point of you wished you would have learned more conversational versus like the numbers and just some ambiguous words, right?
I really tried to get my teacher to teach me conversation, but she won't do it. I mean, she's like, you have to learn proper Thai first, you know, which I understand. But, you know, what excelled me is learning to read and write in Thai, because
Ooh, that's
the
next
problem
level.
the problem is the tones, and if you don't understand the direction of the word, and not that I can do it, but you know, I make what I'll do is I'll write in Thai certain sentences, and then once I remember that, I'll move on and do something different. I challenge myself with different stuff so I can try to remember. But reading, I can write Thai perfect, and I can read Thai pretty good. I speak maybe 40%, and I can understand about 80, 90% in Thai, because I hear it all day. Mostly
Yeah.
Isan though.
Yeah, talk about immersion, right? And I've heard that if you learn how to read Thai, that it actually helps your pronunciation of the Thai language, because you're not looking at the English spelling of the Thai word. Have you found that to be true?
I'll tell you one thing that really benefits reading Thai is I don't have to ask my wife all the time, what is that? What is that? What is that? Because when we're driving, I'm like studying, because I see like, okay, this is a fruit stand. I see what kind of fruit it is, and I can read what it is. So in my mind, the way I work is I remember how it's spelled, and I can remember the word easier if I can see how it's spelled.
That's great. You know, it's so funny because when I was starting to get a little conversational with Thai, I started speaking more to Thai people. I remember getting on a motorbike and I asked the guy, you know, Rakat Tau Rai Krop? And he replied back, I think he said like Hasit Bad or something like that. And I was thinking, oh crap, the numbers. I should have learned my numbers. I had no idea what he was saying, Chuck. So
Yeah.
I realized before you ask someone how much something costs, you probably should know the Thai numbers. So then I immersed myself in the Thai numbers. But I think a question for you, Chuck, is, you know, people that are looking maybe to learn Thai, to come over and vacation in Thailand, what kind of, what kind of information can you give them?
You know, it's all practice, and it's really not fair with Thai language, because it's such a tonal language and it has to be said perfectly. Unless you can say a complete sentence and they know the direction that you're going with your tones, but you really got to be able to mimic the accent. So it just takes time and practice. But my teacher told me to practice, like go in the bathroom every day when you're in the bathroom and say the word over and over and over again. And I'll tell you what I do. I use Google, and I use Google Translate, but I say it in Thai, and I get so aggravated because, like, you don't understand what I'm saying, you know? But if I can say it perfect, then Google will translate it into what I'm really trying to say. So it's like practicing to say it correctly. But, you know, Rosetta Stone, if you've got the time to do Rosetta Stone, man, that thing works good. But you really got to focus on that thing. But, you know, reading phonics is horrible. Unless you understand the author's way of doing the phonics, it's almost impossible to say the word properly. But there's a lot of Thai YouTube channels that teach Thai. I think that's probably the best.
I think you got to find one that kind of works for you. You know, I found one that worked for me, Thai with Maud, that I just love.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah.
Yeah, she speaks slowly. I mean, she definitely was great. Then I moved to like an audio recording system. Pimsleur is what I use. And I got to tell you, Chuck, they said 1 30-minute class a day is all you need. Oh, Chuck, it was so fast paced. It was 1 30-minute session a week for me. I had to listen to it over and over again to kind of get it. It was just nuts. Got a question in the chat here from Daystate Fox saying, Chuck, liked your KC Grande review. Ko Chang, which side of the road was best, the roof terrace pool side or the beach side? What would you like, Chuck?
You know, I liked them both. I liked them both, but the pool side, we had like a swimming pool right. You step out in the patio and there's a pool right there. So the problem is we didn't spend much time because we were trying to hustle around and get to a bunch of reviews on other resorts. But that was Paige's favorite place. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like them. I like variety. If I had to choose, yeah, I like the one in the poolside.
Yeah. You know, I wanted to kind of switch gears a little bit, Chuck, and talk to you about something that I found very interesting. Your reasons for coming over to Thailand. So I know that you mentioned some of your videos talk about you got tired of buying things to impress people you didn't like. You know, that's sort of a summary statement, but you know, I'd love to kind of find out more of what was that critical moment where you said, enough, I'm going to Thailand.
You know, I don't know. It hit me somewhere around 30 years old. I was an auto mechanic, and it just seemed like it wasn't, the job was never enough. You know, you never could do good enough job. And I don't know, it's just the demands and people's expectations. And the original theme was not "No Time to Be Sad." It was, "I don't have time for this shit." And that was what I would say all the time. I don't have time for this, you know, because there's other things that I need to do in my life than try to make miserable people happy all the time. And I have all this, I realized that I was doing all these things because, you know, I had all this stuff that I had to, you know, maintain, I had to, you know, update. And I don't know what happened to me. I don't think a lot of people can do what I do, you know, but it's just, for me, it's easy. I only have the necessities in my life, and life is so much easier, and I don't get wound up about things because I have no ties to stuff. So there's a lot of crazy crap going on in Thailand right now, but I feel like it really doesn't affect me because I'm not anchored down here. I can take off and go anywhere I want to. So I love Thailand. I don't want to go anywhere. I know there's problems everywhere, but when you don't, I don't know. I don't have any more shits to give.
Yeah, I love that. And I think all the aspiring YouTube creators are probably going to search that name right now. No time to, what would you say? No time to give a shit, or?
I gotta watch my mouth. I'm sorry.
Hey, as long as you don't use the F-bomb, I think we're good.
Yeah,
Someone told me once you start dropping those, you're in trouble. But no,
I talk too much, so you gotta cut me off.
No, I love it. I think so. It really resonated for me because I really feel like the stuff we own in America ends up owning you, and it keeps you anchored to not being able to do what you want to do in life. So I thought you raised a good point there about just very freeing to kind of get rid of stuff and not being anchored anywhere.
Yeah, but some people enjoy their things. That's what makes them happy. Only do what makes you happy, you know. This lifestyle, you know, like I said, is not for everybody, but just only try to do what you could do to make your life, your short little existence in life, as pleasant as possible. That's all that I think everybody can do, because there's a 1 in a trillion chance that we're even here today, and we are all going to die one way or the other. So what we do in between that time, you know, is up to us. So.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something I really appreciate about Thailand is this whole Buddhist philosophy of like live in the moment. I feel like in America, we're living in the future so much. We have to get that higher paying job, get that promotion, earn more money, and eventually we'll do this. Eventually we'll do this. I feel like Thailand's all about just being in the moment and not materialistic. Do you find that to be true?
Yeah, I do, you know, and I found myself like living for the weekend. Like the whole week would just vanish. Like I would zombie out the whole week at work and just be waiting for the weekend or my little 1 week vacation a year. But I like to bass fish, you know, and I wanted to go do some bass fishing tournaments, you know, and one of the things that really pissed me off the most about work is like, I really wanted to do this. It was like, I love this, but my boss would be like, no, you can't take off work. You know, like, why is this place going to go out of business if I miss a day or something? It was like, I could never do anything for myself, you know, and then I had to pay for it when I came back, and it sucked, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's just horrible, like the America vacation schedule that we're all on. My first time to Thailand, I took 10 days. I came back, I almost lost my job. They're like, you can never take 10 days again. I was thinking, oh man, I'm just so looking forward to going back, but it just wasn't realistic. And yeah, it's tough. Virtuella, thank you for another super chat. Wow, Chuck, you're bringing all the super chats with you today. Thank you for that. He's asking, hey, Chuck, any finishing videos coming out soon, or did Paige, any fishing videos, or did Paige outfish you? So you gave up. Is Paige a good fisher?
You know, I had to hold the camera, so I had to make it look good, you know. I wanted to do some fishing, but right now, a lot of the fishing tours are minimal. You know, you got to have a lot of people before they'll take the boat out. So I don't know. Nothing yet. No fishing yet.
Got a question. Go More Hike was asking, do you like to read? Got any book recommendations? So Go More Hike is my reader on the channel. He loves to read books. Voracious appetite for reading.
I'm not much of a book reader. I have like a attention deficit disorder, so it's difficult for me to concentrate on, not to make excuses, but I find myself like wandering too much. I just don't have the patience or something, but I do read a lot on the computer, stuff like that. But no, I don't read too much.
So it was interesting when I was, yeah, well, you know, I find like my eyesight's getting so bad now. I can't really read the books anymore. So it's like, gosh, whatever. But you know, it's interesting when I was reviewing some of your back history with Paige. You know, you met Paige in America, and then she had come to America at age 15 because she was going to get her degree, and then the plan was for her to stay in America. And I felt like then you meet her and you say like, let's go back to Thailand. Was she excited for that move back? And I'd love to kind of get your feedback on how she felt about that whole move.
Yeah, I mentioned this a couple videos back. She's pretty flexible, you know, but I had to actually talk her into it. She really didn't care that much, but that's where her friends are, and that's where she's comfortable at in America. And but you know, she was ready when we did the travel trailer thing. She really enjoyed that, and she just loves the adventure. But
yeah, it sounded like you guys went all around.
Her parents told her and her brother, you got two choices. Because in Thailand, once you get to a certain grade, you have to start paying for better education. So her parents said, you're either going to go to the university in Bangkok or you're going to go to America. So they decided, both of them, that they wanted to go to America, which was tough for them, you know, at that time. Yeah, you know, if I said, hey, let's go back to America and get in a travel trailer and travel around again, she'd be like, okay. She's very easy. She's not well, I mean, if it's something like I can't say, hey, let's go back to America. I want to buy a bass boat and I want to go tour, you know, again. She'd be like, hell no. You know?
I was wondering if when she came back to Thailand, if she walked into her parents and said, I'm back, kind of put it in their face a little bit, because it sounded like they were told her, like, you go back to America, you stay there. And then she comes back with you and like, I'm back.
Well, I never mentioned this on my channel before. So her dad's not much of a talker. He's a pretty quiet guy. But at first, he didn't really understand why I would quit my job and come live in Thailand. Like, he didn't really know if I was going to try to come here and work. You know, they spent a lot of money on their daughter to get a good education and get a good career. And they were just not sure why we came back to Thailand, you know. They completely understand now. But at first it was strange. But her mom doesn't care either way. She's just happy that Paige is home. But now he's excited for us to be here, and he understands. Yeah, it's all good now, but he was kind of confused, and it's difficult to talk to him because he's very quiet, you know.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's some interesting videos with this tuk-tuk business that he has. That was kind of interesting stuff that he's doing. But I'm wondering, like, Chuck, do you meet a lot of foreigners that come over to Thailand that have been in Thailand as long as you have and don't speak the language?
I would say most of them. A very small percentage can speak Thai. They give up. You know, it's very difficult to do it. So I would say most of them have enough words to get by. You know.
Yeah.
But most of them can't speak Thai.
Did this motivate you? Like when you started to be able to speak a little bit of Thai, for me, when I would see the Thai people's reaction to me speaking Thai, I felt like they were really appreciative of that. So I wanted to learn more because of that. Did you find that to be the case with you? Like the more you learn, the more people were kind of appreciating your language?
Yeah, you know, once I can speak Thai to them, they're so nosy. You know, they want to know everything about you. And also once they find out you understand and can speak Thai, they kind of quiet. You know, they don't want to talk that much. Oh, Falang knows too much, you know. But no, the thing is that, you know, I'm a talker, obviously, and I'm very curious. So I don't want to sit around and just talk to my wife all day, you know. So I want to go out and I want to talk to people and I want to learn new things. And I want to ask them why. Why are you cutting 5 rise of land with a friggin' weed eater? Why don't you go buy a lawnmower? I want to ask these questions, So, because if I ask Paige, like, I don't know. I lived in America most of my life. Who cares, I
Yeah,
do.
do you feel like they kind of just do what they're used to? Like that's how they've been
Definitely.
cutting all their life. So yeah, it's very
They are
interesting.
so repetitious and they don't do change very well. It's a strange thing to see. Now the younger generation, does things completely different.
Do you find they're more open-minded and more adaptable to change, the younger people?
I think so. Thailand's going through a lot of changes. Ever since multimedia opened up in Thailand, maybe 15 years ago, things are changing rapidly in Thailand, especially with the younger generation. And you can see that right now with the protests and all that stuff. I mean, they're demanding change right now. So.
Yeah, it's interesting times for sure. Definitely interesting. Let me just go to the chat here and see what we got. Don't want to try to ignore anyone. Everyone's talking amongst themselves. Beauty in the East, welcome to the live stream. I had Beauty in the East on a little bit. I'm wondering though, Chuck, like when you came over, so when you came over with Paige, this was your first trip to Thailand. You had not been to Thailand before?
Never.
On a vacation. So did you have any like oh crap moments where you came in and said, I might have underestimated the heat, or I might have underestimated this, or were you at peace with it when you arrived?
I overestimated everything. I had no idea. My first shocker was when Paige came over first, because I still had to work. She'd come over for 3 months a year. And I get in the airport and I'm standing in that damn international terminal. I got my luggage. I'm like, I don't know where to go. My phone don't work. I don't know what that machine with the buttons, I don't know what that is. It took me like 45 minutes to calculate a direction, to go. But the food, I got sick. The heat was horrible. The first thing, my father-in-law took me to Walking Street in Pattaya, and I was like, I saw a mall with air conditioning. I was like in microwave, like my face was like boiling out, from the heat. I had to find air condition quick.
Yeah. And that's saying something coming from Texas, right? Because it can get pretty hot there, but just it's a different heat in Thailand.
Yeah, it's totally different here. But all that being said, though, I had a lot of crazy experiences on my first trip, but I left here kind of like in a trance. Like I just saw things differently in life after being around Thai people and seeing how they reacted and how they lived life with minimal stuff that they had. And that just, I couldn't stop thinking about Thailand at that time. I was like possessed on a mission, like this is where I want to be. And I mean, not at first. I talked to Paige about it, like a few months later. I said, hey, what about Thailand, And she's like, yeah, I don't know, whatever. And then I finally talked her into it. So we had to have money. So that was the next mission at hand, was to be able to retire and have enough money to be able to do it. So.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what really keeps a lot of people from retiring in Thailand is they use their American brain to figure out the retirement. Like I need this much money to come over. I need $1 million in my savings account to come over. They don't realize that, especially if you're looking at going to the Isan province, which is where you're at, less money is required. So you can kind of scrape by on less. And I feel like, what are your feelings on that, Chuck?
Yeah, if you want to live in a village, you want to live in Isan, you can live in Thailand on a $500 or whatever pension. You can do it if that's the kind of lifestyle that you want. My lifestyle, we travel a lot, so we probably spend more money than the normal person living in Thailand because most of our time is on the road. But that's the big question everybody wants to know, right? I mean, that's like the hardest thing to do. There's 1,000 videos out there on how much do you need to come to Thailand. So what you got to do is you got to come here with the mindset that you're going to move here, and you got to know what your needs are in life, and you've got to do your own research when you come. I mean, you've got to be the type of person, if you're going to live in another country, that has to be able to try to do research, to try to be flexible, but you got to come here and just do it. But I recommend if you move here, don't stay permanently in one place because, give yourself a couple of years of traveling around before you want to buy a condo or something like that. It's different if you're married to a Thai, that's a different story because it's best to have some kind of permanent home base, especially for your immigration needs and stuff like that. But it all just depends on you. I mean, that's the only way you can answer that question.
Yeah, I feel like that's a great point about not anchoring yourself to one location if you're new coming over, because I feel like a lot of Americans want to come over and purchase that condo, excuse me, to have that anchor of just not having to spend all that extra money every month. But they'd probably be more well served if they just kind of explored different locations and rented for a while.
Most of the people that I talk to are more happy not owning something, being flexible. They want to they love Chiang Mai, but they don't like the burning season. Yeah. So if you don't like the burning season, then don't be a part of it. Just leave that area and go somewhere else. My buddy Klaus, who's always in my videos, who is back to Thailand, has got 2 more days of quarantine left. He lives in Pratua, but his wife's home and village is about 30 kilometers north of here. So that's their home base. But he spends whatever 80, 90,000 baht a year for this nice little place, and it's all furnished. And if his neighbors suck, then he'll just pick up and move either down the street or to somewhere else. It's easy, really easy.
Yeah, and I felt like one of the things you said just a couple minutes ago was around people doing research online. There's a whole bunch of videos that you can take a look at for how much the cost is going to be in Thailand. I got to tell you, Chuck, I feel like a lot of people that over-research what's going to be required are almost looking for a reason not to come. Oh, I can't come there because of this, because of that. I can't eat the food. I can't come over there. Do you find that to be true? Like a lot of your friends, people that you talk to back in America, are not really that serious about coming to Thailand, but they want to talk your ear off about the cost and everything like that?
Not so much, I guess. I overthought everything. I'm an overthinker. I put a pencil to everything. I'm not like that now because it hurts you. You can't live in Thailand. Like, you have to change. But I thought I knew everything before I moved here. And boy, it really screwed me up because it hit me hard because it's different. Every scenario, every province, every person, it's a different situation. So it's good to do research to kind of get an idea and watch other people's videos. And this is how you get a license, or this is how you extend your visa. It's kind of good to feel comfortable about doing that. But a lot of people can't live in Thailand. A lot of people think, I'm sick of this crap. I'm going to move to Asia. And then I know probably about 50 people that have come here and asked me to help them sell their stuff on my Facebook page because they can't deal with it.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't live in Thailand permanently.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think you made a video about this a couple of years ago talking about if you come over there, you can't bring your American mentality with you. Like, it's sabai here. It's easy. Just relax, live in the moment. And I feel like that's why maybe a lot of people don't do well in Thailand because they still have that American brain or that UK brain that they're bringing over, and they can't. You talked about this a little bit around the frustrations of everything sabai. Sometimes that can be frustrating for someone that wants to have a regimented system, right? Did you kind of struggle with that a little bit?
I did, and I still. It's hard to switch that off. It's hard to turn off who we are. We overthink things. That's just how our brain works. We got to completely understand. It pisses my wife off when I try to ask her about a Thai word, and then I want her to. I got to completely understand it, before I can remember it, because that's just how my brain works. But it takes time to just. A lot of the things that I didn't understand at first, that makes sense now. Now I completely understand. So it's an evolution. I'm evolving a little bit. And if you watch my earlier videos, you can see I was pretty wound up.
Yeah.
And now I just kind of take things as they go. But as they come. But I
definitely got that sense. I feel like the first couple of times you went to immigration, you seemed stressed. You know, you had to get there. Yeah, so I definitely saw that a little bit. But one thing, so Rusty Spygoat, which is a funny screen name, was saying, Chuck adapted well to Thailand considering he planned out everything beforehand. But Daystay Fox had a great comment here, Chuck, talking about he's looking forward to retirement, but he really needs to have some hobbies to keep his mind sharp. And that's something you've talked about, right? So you can't just come over to Thailand and expect to sit around and drink beer all day. You got to have a hobby like you do YouTube videos. You have a bike that you ride around quite a bit. Do you think that's really important?
It's definitely important. And if you live in an area where you have to depend on people for speaking, you know, friends, because they come and go in Thailand, you know, it's best to come here and try to get involved with the culture, learn the language, get some kind of hobby. You can still voluntarily visit schools and speak to the students without having a work permit, stuff like that. And a lot of people started YouTube channels. There's, I don't know, thousands of Thailand vloggers now. But yeah, you gotta find something to do. For me, I can't sit still very long. I love Isan, but 2 weeks I'm done. I've gotta go. So the traveling thing, the adventure of the unknown is what I love. And the YouTube thing is really my entertainment. And I really love the editing part of the video, because really, when I do my video, it really kind of sucks until I can check when I do the editing and I go, okay, now this is something. I turn it into something watchable, you know. But that's my entertainment, is the editing of the YouTube videos.
I feel like that's such a true statement, Chuck, in that the raw data or the raw video doesn't really do it for a lot of people. And my mom is a big editor of my videos. She'll come in and give me her opinions, this kind of stuff, and I'll tell her what my concept is for a video, and she's like, eh. But then once you put music in and narrations, then it kind of comes alive. So to your point, I love doing the editing. Probably too much though, Chuck. I don't have enough footage to put more videos out, so I'm doing these intros and outros now. So maybe I'm getting too into it. I'm getting too into my green screens. It's getting nuts. So maybe I gotta go to therapy for this.
Well, you talked to me earlier about 30-minute videos, and you know, that's very long to do a YouTube videos. Most of everybody's videos are about 10 minutes, something like that. But you know, mine's just everyday life. I want to bring you in the morning, and we travel throughout the day, and then the evening I'm telling you guys goodbye. And I feel like it's very difficult for me to do a short video. So
yeah, I think so. That's a great point. Well, I did want to switch gears a little bit, because there's one thing I wanted to talk to you about that might be near and dear to your heart, and that's the charity at the school that you do some work with. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? I don't think people know about that so much.
Yeah, that was just kind of a thing that I did for myself, me and Paige. And one time I shared it on a video, and people were like, "Oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to help you. I want to." So I just said, "No, I that's not why I did this, you know." But then one day Paige goes, "Hey, why don't you go ahead and let them donate some money?" And they donated that was like $4,000, you know, and I had to end the PayPal. I had to stop it, you know. But hey, it's such an awesome feeling, you know. These kids are so appreciative, and so I'm trying to make this video, and I mean, I couldn't talk. There was nothing I could say. I was just like, okay, you know. But it was just a really immense, heartfelt feeling. And but yeah, you know, it's good to give to people that are appreciative. You know, I'm not a very good taker. I don't like to take things, and you know, when people send me stuff, I don't know how to react to it. I'm much better at just giving. It makes me more happy to give than to receive. I think a lot of people are like that too. But yeah, you know, so every year we do something for this, like Christmas. This year we're doing something for Christmas. I went and already did like 1,000+ T-shirts for the kids, and they have their little. Every year they have like a like a student day, we sponsor that too. But
is there anything that we could do to help kind of support your efforts there?
Not really, you know. And today I spoke to the head teacher and said, "Hey, we got to do something this year." She says, "No." I'm like, "What do you mean no?" She goes, "We already have too much. We can't take anything else." So they don't want any more than they can receive than they need. So she said, maybe we can do like a dinner or like some food, something small, a party. You know, buy some candy or gifts or something like that. So something small. But usually I'll promote that like a month or so prior to that. Once I get everything, the details worked out, and I let everybody know on my channel. But I don't want to do anything big because you really don't want to spoil them too much. You don't want to. They don't need 5 or 6 of the same things, you know. So
yeah, that's a fair point. So Chuck, we're kind of coming to the end of our time here. I really want to thank you so much for coming on my show today. It means a lot to me. I won't be messaging you then every day anymore, trying to talk you into coming in on the show.
I wasn't intentionally blowing you off. We're just so busy moving around all the time, and I really didn't know how you did your live feed, and I don't have Skype or none of that stuff. And anyway, I just we're busy
all worked out in the end, man. All worked out in the end. I was persistent. I was not going to give up.
No, I watched a couple of your deals. You do an excellent job. Very, very good job. Your channels, once you get back to Thailand, you know, I think things are going to go up for you 100%. So
I appreciate that.
I hope you get 10,000 more subscribers from this. I doubt it.
That'd be great. Well, I was going to tell you, I'll trade you my 2,000 for your 43,000. But I got some great subscribers. No,
I'm pretty much peaked out right now because not everybody's really interested in the things that we're doing in Thailand. You know, that's not most of the reason why people come to Thailand is to do what we do. But I'm glad to show it, and I have excellent viewers and excellent subscribers, and it's fun.
Yeah, well, you do a great job, Chuck. I've appreciated your videos for many years now, so keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, I appreciate that. No time to be sad. If you're not subscribed, I think everyone probably on this live show is probably already subscribed. I don't know if I can add any more to your subscriber list, Chuck. It's probably the reverse.
I think I recognize almost everybody on the chat here. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time today. Please give our regards to Paige and Soy Mafia, and
I'll do it.
Get some good sleep tonight. Thanks again, man.
I'll do it. Okay, Richard.
All right. See you later. Awesome guest. I love having him on, man. I'll tell you, I was relentless with him. He was being very nice. I was definitely pinging him almost every day, trying to get him to come on. So I definitely appreciate that. Thanks, guys, for all the questions in the chat. Appreciate the super chats, too. That was very nice. I saw Alpha Interactions came on. He was mentioning, got here late, gents. Have some questions. Go more hike, talking to Alpha Interactions. I know we had some questions we didn't get to. So feel free to leave those in the comments, and we can definitely have Chuck reply to those. But yeah, I definitely appreciated that interview. He's a nice guy. Let me go back up and remove this comment. A lot of comments in here. 59 people in the chat. Love to know how many we had at our peak there, which was great. And I'd say, guys, so we'll talk a little bit amongst ourselves here. I would say stay with me because I got an awesome outro video I want to play for you guys. Got some outtakes from my interview with Retired Working For You. So it kind of has some bloopers there. I think what I'm going to do is kind of keep doing those weekly outros, kind of update them with some bloopers from the live shows. I know I was looking at some of the ones from Beauty in the East that we had the conversation we had a couple weeks ago. It's like some pretty funny stuff in there. So I'll probably continue to add to that. And then Beauty in the East says, starting to love adding narration. Yeah, narration is good. I feel like Beauty because, you know, you can do that after the fact, right? So you don't have to be in the moment trying to figure out what you're going to say. I'm a little bit tongue twisted when I do the live videos, narrating that kind of stuff. So it definitely is nice when you do the narrations after, because you find like you can write those out a little bit, which is nice, and then kind of truncate them down a little bit. In Love with Thailand says, and I love your edited videos as well. Richard, thank you very much. Currently working on part 10 of the Richard Returns to Thailand. And that's, you know, I don't want to like toot my own horn there, but that's going to be an epic video. It's going to be a longer video, and I got a lot of things to say. and it's going to be kicking off hopefully a new series. So I'm looking forward to that. Just say Beauty in the East. Talking about actually the first person I saw doing narration and enjoyed it was No Time to Be Sad. He was showing the scenery while riding his bike and had the background narration. I thought it was so good. Yeah, I feel like he does a great job of that. And he has I should have talked to him more about the equipment he uses for his bike, because I know he has a GoPro hooked up. He's got like a rear view camera as well. So he's got a lot of stuff going on there, but those videos are great. See Alpha Interactions and Troy. I think it's great to help the children. It is. And I wanted to kind of pull that out of him a little bit, because I know he's not really one to toot his own horn, but that's really some great stuff that he's doing there. So I want to kind of call attention to that. It's always nice to have people giving back a little bit. And then Rusty Spigo saying Pattaya Pariah has amazing narration. He sure does. He's the person who kind of inspired me to kind of kick off my channel. So a lot of people have compared some of my videos to his. I think they're different, but he does a great job. And then Daystate Fox saying, shortly find out if the UK has a month-long lockdown. Oh, and that's a nice segue to something I wanted to talk about. Is I feel like America is not doing another lockdown, but boy, I sure am concerned, because it sounds like all of Europe is doing it. I think France just went into a lockdown again for 30 days. And I kind of made a joke about this last time around. It's not so dependent on Thailand letting us into the country. It's more so dependent on our country allowing us to travel out or being accepted from our home country. One of the things that Thailand will do is they'll always look at the country of origin on your passport. They're not going to look at where you've been staying. There's a lot of Americans that have been in Cambodia and Laos the last couple of months that are totally unaffected by the current situation, but because their passport says America, they're in a tough spot. They're high risk, so they're not able to come back. Daystate Fox saying 57 watching. That's great, man. I really appreciate everyone that kind of came over and took a chance on checking out my live show today. Appreciate that. I would say keep hanging in there, man. Got a couple more minutes. I'm gonna try to make this to an hour, and then want to play my outro video with some great outtakes from Retire Working for You on there. So nice interview both. I appreciate that. And Daystate Fox Ireland are on 5 weeks full lockdown as well. Wow. Ay. That's rough. That's a long lockdown. I feel like in America, so specifically where I am right now in San Francisco, California has been a big state, pretty severe lockdown. They're starting to ease up the restrictions slowly, though. One of the weird things that happened here in San Francisco is they opened up the movie theaters again to like 25% capacity, but they weren't letting the movie theaters sell concessions. So no popcorn, no soda. And I was thinking, that's not really going to entice people to come back to watch. There's not a lot of movies out right now, but people really go to the movie theater for the movie popcorn. So, and I'm hearing that in another month they may allow the movie theaters to sell concessions, but it's like, oh, it's just not good, man. You want to be able to go to the movies and actually get your popcorn as well. So yeah, I found that to be kind of funny. People were chuckling when they saw that. Go More Hike asking, Richard, what's your outlook on the future? And it's a great question, right? So, boy, I was the one calling it earlier in April and May that I was going back to Thailand in November. So I'm happy to say that I was wrong there. But I will tell you that I definitely didn't see the severity of this happening. I felt like when we went into lockdown in March, like it was going to be similar to what they did in China, where it was kind of ran its course in 3 months. I felt like as we kind of got through the summer months, it would kind of be more opened up. That actually did not happen. So I kind of feel like, man, now with the numbers the way they are, I really feel like 2021 is in jeopardy. So my outlook is not very rosy. I kind of feel like, boy, if we get back to normal in November of 2021 for the high season coming around next year, that would be great. So I don't know, guys. I just feel like I used to be very optimistic. Now I just feel like it's a waiting game. Now, the one good thing that's coming from all this, which you should think about too, is it definitely gives you a chance to get your finances in order. And think about all the money you were spending all those Thailand trips. You're not spending that anymore. So maybe you can kind of get that nest egg going again, and then maybe look for a longer trip. So yeah, let's see. So Virtuella saying, try the Dice Man by Luke Reinhardt. If you're into gambling, it's kind of scary. So I guess we're referring something over to him. I was in love with Thailand says I was looking forward a lot to the new James Bond movie. So it sucked that it has been postponed for a second time. Although Honest Thief was a great time with Liam Neeson. I haven't seen that one. And actually, the bummer too about this whole situation was that the Top Gun movie, Top Gun #2, the sequel, was delayed. It was supposed to come out in July, and that's been delayed a whole another year. So, oh man, definitely sucks having to wait another year for all that to come out. Alpha Interactions, who's been a guest of ours in the past, said he's saving for his next big trip in 12 months' time. Yeah, and I feel like we'll see, man. I feel like that may be a good time. So, yeah, as we're looking coming in November, it's like a year out. So then the high season next year. And, you know, I think I wish you could buy the tickets for that because, you know, everyone gets excited when they get to buy the airline tickets and make hotel reservations. Then you have that concrete date in mind. But I feel like you can't really buy the airline flights yet for that kind of thing. I think you can actually purchase them, but I don't know, would you feel comfortable purchasing them during that time? I'm not sure. Go More Hike saying 12 months. Daystate Fox, yeah, RIP, Sean Connery, that just came out a couple hours ago, I guess. He passed away, unfortunately, one of the James Bond characters. So a lot of people think he was the best James Bond character. Yeah, interesting. So I would just say, let me go back here and remove this comment. It's definitely open for discussion. I definitely feel like it's not just, I don't think you'd want to go back to Thailand right now on a vacation because there's not a lot of things open. And I kind of saw that I kind of, you know, definitely showed that a little bit on the Richard Returns video series that I did because it talks about how the bars were empty, bars were closing down. That can be a little depressing. You don't want to see that if you're on vacation. You want to be able to relax and de-stress, that kind of stuff. So you don't really want to have that on your mind. I will tell you, it was still a good time when I went in February, but it was not as fun as if I had gone back in November the previous year. I feel like November, December, January, February, those are my favorite months to go. I don't like spending a lot of time there New Year's Eve, just because it seems to be amateur hour there. The prices are a lot more increased. A lot of crazy people out during that time. So I would just say, not my favorite time to go for New Year's Eve, but you know, we never know. Beauty in the East is saying, I think we should all go back at the same time so we can all collaborate on videos as a big group. Boy, wouldn't that be great? And I was just thinking when Chuck was saying like, there's a ton of YouTube, Thailand vloggers out here. I was thinking there's probably quite a few less right about now because nobody can go there. I'm almost out of material entirely. You know, one of my moderators, Tommy J, was kind of giving me grief for my last Richard Returns, the Part 9 series when he saw the salad making contest. He's like, Richard, salad making, really? I said, Tommy, I'm out of content, man. I don't have much more to show. So we're kind of like taking stuff off the cutting room floor to put in these videos. So, and one thing that was funny, when we had Beauty in the East on a couple weeks ago, he said that when he knew he was coming back to America, he made it like a mission. He was out there filming 8 hours a day, just B-roll, everything he could film, filling up SD cards, because he knew he probably wouldn't be able to get back for a little while. So I thought that was kind of funny. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and kind of wrap things up here a little bit, guys. I got a funny outro video I'm going to show you on the way out. It's kind of a way for me to kind of thank all of the guests that have come out on the live show in the past. So like Chuck was saying, I was pretty much relentless on him getting him out. It's a lot of hard work to get guests to come on, especially the larger ones that are busier. So I definitely want to thank Chuck for coming on, and Chuck will be a part of my outro video next week. So look for those. But just want to thank everyone that's come on. I know if I start naming people, I'll forget a couple, so I don't want to do that. I thought what might be better is if I constructed an outro video where I kind of give thanks to everyone that came on. So I'll just say, watch this outro video, give me a thumbs up, let me know if you liked it. And I just want to thank everyone that's come on the show previously as a guest on the Saturday Live Show, and I'll see everyone next Saturday. Happy Halloween.
Richard, how's it going? Can you hear me?
What's that?
Can you hear me?
I'm just kidding, I can hear you.
Oh, Richard.
Your Thai language. So I thought what we'd start doing today is have a little bit of fun with some icebreaker questions. So Chris, being that you're from Canada, would you prefer that I end all of my questions with A? A.
Oh, as long as you start them all with OGs. If you don't start them with OGs, then I just don't think that you're up to par there with talking Canadian, like, you know?
Oh man, that Canadian accent really came out just now. I think you masked that on your videos. title of your channel is Retired Working for You. Are you available for odd jobs in San Francisco?
That's a hard no.
All right, last question. This is the last of the icebreaker question. So the duration of our time today is 30 minutes. Will you require a nap during this time?
Yeah.
I can barely go this whole live stream without using the restroom.
Welcome to Soy Cowboy.